right, good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order, and I've got some opening remarks. The public meeting is being heard by the City Council Planning Advisory Committee, and public notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The non-elected members of the Planning Advisory Committee are Mr. John Beltutis, Mr. David Joyce, Ms. Catherine Brown, and Mr. Paul Jennings. Citizen appointees may ask questions and participate in the discussion in order to assist in making recommendations to City Council, but may not make motions or vote in connection with the public meeting. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Planning Committee or City Council before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of City Council or the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the City of Balboa before the related bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. Comments received at this public meeting, as well as written comments, will be considered by the Engineering and Development Services Department in analysis of the applications that were part of the public meeting tonight. For further information on how to provide comments to the City regarding an application from this public meeting, please email planning@balboa.ca. A recommendation report will be brought forward upon receipt of all agency and public comments in the future. Any persons wishing to be advised of the Bowel Planning Advisory Committee's recommendations with respect to today's applications are requested to provide their name and address, as well as the application in which they have an interest in writing to the City of Bowel. And there's some forms on the podium out front. For attendance, I see all council members are present. Disclosure of pecuniary interests and general nature thereof. Seeing none, we'll move on to public meetings. 3.1, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, Bylaw 3014, 235 Harmony Road, City of Bowel. Owner is Frank DeHaan, agent is Nikki DeHaan. File number is B-77-1167. And if staff could present the application.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The subject land is on the north side of Harmony Road, west of Homan Road, and east of River Road North, which is municipally known as 235 Harmony Road, and is developed with a single detached dwelling with several farm and accessory buildings. Consent application B-1421 proposed to create one new residential lot. As a condition of consent, the rezoning application proposes to rezone the severed parcel from prime agriculture PA zone to rural residential RR zone to permit a new residential dwelling, as well as a portion of the retained parcel from prime agriculture PA zone and rural RU zone to rural RUX zone with special provisions to permit a reduced lot frontage. No new development or zone changes are proposed on the lands zoned as hazard H zone. Staff have not received any correspondence from the public regarding this application. The official plan designation of the subject land are rural land use and environmental protection. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? If so, come on up and just activate the microphone. And if you could state your name, please. Yeah, there you go.
Good evening. I'm Frank DeHaan, my wife Amy, and daughter Nikki. We are the applicant for the rezoning, I guess, for a lot for our daughter and her future husband, so that we still live side by side, and that's why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from committee members? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? And a third time, anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed to the application? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? And a third time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? Okay, seeing none, got a motion that the resolution of Frank DeHaan application B-77-1167 be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Moved by Councillor Alsop, seconded by Councillor Sanderson. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 3.2, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, Bylaw 3014, 6845 and 6875 Highway 62, City of Bowel. Owners Wayne Waite. Agent is Watson Land Surveyors Limited, and file number B-77-1168. If staff could present the application, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The subject lands are on the west side of Highway 62, south of Sunningdale Drive, and north of Roy Boulevard, which are municipally known as 6845 and 6875 Highway 62. The property at 6845 Highway 62 is developed with a single detached dwelling, commercial building, storage building, and barn, while the property at 6875 Highway 62 is farmland. Consent application B2922 proposed to add the west side of 6845 Highway 62 to the benefiting parcel. As an anticipated condition of consent, the rezoning application proposes to rezone the retained parcel from Development D zone and Highway Commercial C1 zone to a Highway C1H zone with a holding symbol that limits the use of the retained parcel to the existing uses until such time as the existing barn is no longer used for livestock. Staff have not received any correspondence from the public regarding this application. The official plan designations of the subject land are commercial land use and rural land use. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Yeah, come on forward. I see the microphone's still activated. If you could just state your name, please.
Jennifer Matthews from Watson Land Surveyors. I'm here with Mr. Waite, the owner, and we're just happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Any questions from committee members? No, don't see any. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Yes, come on forward. You could just state your name, please.
This is going to be a rare opportunity because I signed a deal, I sold the property, I had a handshake. I thought I had a real estate agent working for me. He wasn't, he was working for the owner. But I was satisfied and I made a deal and I shook. That is my word. If I'd have known he was only for the agent or for the buyer, I would have hired a real estate agent. He would have represented me. I would have probably made $100,000 or $150,000 more dollars. I am pleased with the deal, and my handshake is my word. And the fellow, that's all. I am so pleased.
Okay, thank you very much.
My name is Wayne Wade, and I'm proud of it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone wanting to speak in opposition of the application? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? And finally, a third time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? See none. I've got a motion that the Wayne Waite application B-77-1168 be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Moved by Councillor Feeney, seconded by Councillor Alsop. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 3.3, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended, 83 and 85 Bridge Street West, City of Bowel. Owner applicant is number 83, let's see here, 10159954 Ontario Corporation, and number 85 is 2748287 Ontario Corporation, and agent is Watson Land Surveyors. File number is B-77-1169. And can staff present the application, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject land is located on the south side of Bridge Street West between Dunbar Street and Octavia Street. Both the properties are lots of record and they're currently vacant. The application proposes special provisions to allow for a one-story semi-detached dwelling with a second unit on each property. The requested special provisions under the residential fourth density or R4 zone include reductions to lot frontage per dwelling unit, front lot line, lot area per dwelling unit, interior side yard depth, as well as an increase to the unenclosed step projection into the side yard. The official plan designation of the subject land is residential land use. And to date, we have received one letter of support from the public regarding this application. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Yes, come on forward. Yes.
I just want to, it seems like we're asking for a lot of relief on this one, but typically what happens is we would build a semi-detached over one lot and then split it into two. So when we're asking for relief for the frontage and all the things that were listed, it's because it's two separate lots and we're building a semi over it, hopefully, if it's approved. So it looks like we're asking for a lot, but it's just because it's two separate already.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from committee members? No? Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? And is anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Okay, anyone speaking in opposition of the application? Is there anyone in opposition of the application? And finally, a third time, anyone wanting to speak in opposition of the application? Seeing none, we've got a resolution that the 100159954 Ontario Corporation and 274482887 Ontario Incorporation application B-77-1169 be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Councillor Alsop, Councillor Kelly, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 3.4, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to bylaw number 3014 as amended, 628 Zion Road, City of Bowel. Owner applicant is 2509635 Ontario Corporate, Graham Brown. Agent is Watson Land Surveyors, and file number is B-77-1170. If staff could present the application, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This rezoning is a condition of consent application B14/22, which severed one residential lot for a surplus dwelling. The severed parcel is located on the northeast corner of the subject land. The severed parcel is proposed to be rezoned from prime agriculture to rural residential to permit the existing residential development. The retained parcel is proposed to be rezoned from prime agriculture to prime agriculture zone with special provisions to prohibit residential development. And in order to comply with MDS formula, the existing barn on the retained lands is to be removed or renovated for a storage building. This is a condition of the consent application. No changes are proposed to the rural, hazard, and development zones on the retained parcel. The official plan designation of the subject land is agricultural land use, rural land use, mineral aggregate, and environmental protection. And at this time, we have not received any correspondence from the public regarding this application.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application?
If anyone has any questions, I'm here.
Okay. Is there any questions from committee members? No? Okay, very good. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? And a third time, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Okay, is anyone willing to speak in opposition of the application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? And finally, a third time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? All right, seeing none, I've got a resolution that 2509635 Ontario Corporate, Graham Brown, 628 Zion Road, application is B-77-1170, be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Moved by Councillor Sanderson, second by Councillor Alsop. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 3.5, notice of complete application and an introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 3014, 69B Mudcat Road, City of Bowel. Owner is Dennis John Gould. Agent is Sean Legere of RFA Planning Consultant Incorporated, and file number is B-77-1171. And can I get staff to present that application, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The subject land is on the north side of Mudcat Road, east of Ashley Street, and south of Old Madoc Road, and is developed with a single detached dwelling on the south side of the property. The subject land is currently zoned as 3 zone categories, starting from the south side of the property, a low-density residential type 1 R113 zone, followed by a development D zone, and then the northmost as rural RU zone, respectively. Consent application B3322 proposed to add the north side of the subject land to the benefiting parcel of 732 Ashley Street. As a condition of consent, the rezoning application proposes to rezone a portion of the severed parcel, that is rural RU zone, to a general industrial M1X zone with special provisions to permit access through 732 Ashley Street and to limit the use of the land to bulk storage. Staff have not received any correspondence from the public regarding this application at this time, and the official plan designation of the subject land is rural land use. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application?
Happy to mix things up from Jennifer back there. Sean Legere, Senior Planner with RFA Planning Consultant. I'm the agent for this application. We're here to assist and answer any questions the committee may have. And just to confirm that the consent was granted provisional approval by the Committee of Adjustment in the August meeting. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from committee members? No, you're off the hook. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? And finally, a third time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? All right, seeing none, got a motion that the Dennis Gould application B-77-1171 be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Councillor Feeney, seconded by Councillor Kelly, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And 3.6, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 815 Zion Road, City of Bowel. Owner is 2509635 Ontario Incorporated, Graham Brown. Agent is Watson Land Surveyors, and file number is B-77-1172. Staff could present the application, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This rezoning is a condition of a consent application B15/22, which severed one residential lot for a surplus dwelling. As you can see, the severed parcel is located on the southwest corner of the subject land at the corner of Zion Road and Cranston Road. The severed parcel is proposed to be rezoned from extractive industrial or M2 zone to rural residential zone to permit the existing residential development. The retained parcel is proposed to be rezoned from extractive industrial zone to extractive industrial zone with provisions to prohibit residential development. The applicant has indicated that the existing quarry is only used by the owner. It is not licensed, nor is the extracted material available for sale. The official plan designation of the subject land is agricultural land use, and at this time we have not received any correspondence from the public on this application. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application?
Only if there's questions.
Thank you. And I don't believe there is any. No. Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? And the third time, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone wanting to speak in opposition of the application? Anyone wanting to speak in opposition of the application? And finally, a third time, anyone wanting to speak in opposition of the application? Seeing none, I got a resolution that 2509635 Ontario Incorporated, Graham Brown, 815 Zion Road, application is B-77-1172, be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. Moved by Councillor Sanderson, seconded by Councillor Alsop. All in favor? It's carried. And I need a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting. Councillor Alsop, Councillor Sanderson, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So moving on to the Planning Advisory Committee meeting. I see everyone's in attendance. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, reading and confirmation of the minutes, resolution of the minutes of the City Council Planning Committee meeting and Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on August 2nd, 2022 be approved. Mr. Joyce and Ms. Brown, any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. No deputations. Can I get a motion that the correspondence received in the clerk's office be received? Councillor Alsop and Mr. Baltutis, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Moving on to referrals from the public meeting. 6.1, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, Bylaw 3014, 235 Harmony Road, City of Bowel. Owners Frank DeHaan, agent is Nikki DeHaan, file number is B-77-1167. Resolution is that the report number PP-2022-40 dated September 6, 2022 regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 235 Harmony Road, City of Belleville, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. Mr. Jennings and Ms. Brown, any questions on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 6.2, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, Bylaw 3014, 6845 and 6875, Highway 62, City of Belleville. Owners Wayne Waite, agent is Watson Land Surveyors Limited, and file number is B-77-1168. Resolution reads that report number PP-2022-41 dated September 6, 2022 regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 6845 and 6875, Highway 62, City of Belleville, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. Councillor Alsop and Mr. Joyce, any questions or comments on this one? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. 6.3, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended, 83 and 85 Bridge Street West, City of Belleville. Owner applicant for number 83 is 1000159954 Ontario Corp. And second is for number 85 is 2748287 Ontario Incorporated. Agent is Watson Land Surveyors, and the file is B-77-1169. Resolution reads that report number PP-2022-42 dated September 6, 2022 regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended, 83 and 85 Bridge Street West, City of Bowel, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. Councillor Sanderson, Mr. Jennings, any questions on this one? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 6.4, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 628 Zion Road, City of Bowel. Owner applicant is 2509635 Ontario Incorporated. Graham Brown, agent is Watson Land Surveyors, and file number is B-77-1170. Resolution is that report number PP-2022-43 dated September 6, 2022 regarding the notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 628 Zion Road, City of Belleville, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering Development Services Department. Councillor Alsop and Mr. Baltutis, any questions on this one? None. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, Bylaw 3014, 69B Mudcat Road, City of Bowel. Owner is Dennis John Gould. Agent is Sean Legere, RFA Planning Consultant Incorporated, and file number is B-77-1171. Resolution is that report number PP-2022-44 dated September 6, 2022 regarding the notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 69B Mudcat Road, City of Bowel, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering and Development Services Department. Mr. Joyce and Mr. Baltutis, any questions on this one? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Notice 6.6, notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for proposed zoning bylaw amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 815 Zion Road, City of Bowel. Owner applicant is 2509635 Ontario Incorporated. Graham Brown, agent is Watson Land Surveyors. File number is B-77-1172. Resolution is a report number PP-2022-45 dated September 6, 2022 regarding notice of complete application and introductory public meeting for application for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended, 815 Zion Road, City of Bowel, County of Hastings be received as information, and that staff report back at such time as input from the public, commenting agencies, and municipal departments has been received, assessed, and addressed to the satisfaction of the Engineering Development Services Department. Mr. Jennings and Councillor Sanderson, any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to reports, 7.1, staff recommendation report for proposed amendment to Belleville official plan and zone bylaws number 10245, 188, 190, and 196 Dundas Street East, 120 and 120A and 126 Burnham Street, City of Belleville. Owner is Artistic Holdings Incorporated. Agent is RFA Planning Consultant Incorporated. And file numbers are B-50-3-40 and B-77-1161. Resolution is that the Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application B-50-3-40 to amend the official plan as amended and B-77-1161 to amend the City of Belleville zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended for 188, 190, and 196 Dundas Street East and 120 and 120A and 126 Burnham Street, City of Belleville be approved as follows. The Belleville's official plan be amended, the Belleville's official plan as amended be amended by redesignated the subject lands from commercial land use to residential land use, that the adopted new official plan pending ministerial approval be updated to reflect these changes, or that these changes be permitted as a request under section 22, subsection 2.2 of the Planning Act to amend the ministerial approved new official plan as the case may be, and that zoning bylaw number 10245 as amended be amended by rezoning the subject lands from general commercial C2-22 zone and residential 4th density R4 zone to a residential 7th density R7-16 zone with special provisions to reduce the required lot frontage, lot area per dwelling, front yard depth, exterior side yard depth, landscaped open space, number of parking spaces, distance between parking area and habitable rooms, interior side and rear lots, and to increase the rear yard depth and maximum permitted lot coverage to permit the development of a 38-unit apartment building. Somebody to move that, please. Mr. Baltutis and Councillor Alsop. Questions or comments on this resolution? Councillor Alsop.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Over the last couple of days, I've received a number of calls about this application from neighboring properties, and their concern largely relates to parking available at the site, with 38 units and only 33 parking spaces, and an average of only half a unit for each of those, half a unit of parking for each of those affordable units. The concern is that a lot of these residents will end up parking on the street if there isn't enough parking on site, and that also when people are having guests over, when people are having deliveries, that will impact the parking situation in the neighboring area. And as we know, this street in particular, because of its proximity is near the hospital, is often used as overflow parking for the hospital for people who don't want to necessarily pay to park closer to the hospital. So I would like to see if they can comment on the feasibility of increasing the parking to 38 units, an increase of 5 units over what is being proposed. Because certainly, we appreciate the affordable housing angle to it, but I think we also need to take care of the parking in that area so that we're not impinging on other people's ability to park.
Okay, staff, please.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Councillor Alsop. Definitely parking was a major consideration with this application. One of the challenging things is when we're dealing with affordable housing projects and high-density projects like this is the requirement for parking. 1.25 spaces is what the normal is, but that often is it's very constraining for high-density developments. Parking structures can also be very expensive for them, and that all adds into the final cost of the projects. Council had approved a guideline for reduction for parking requirements in affordable rental housing. There was a document, the guidelines prepared by Dillon Consulting on behalf of the city, and that made recommendations for where we can support parking reductions, such as including in places in proximity to transit, as well as amenity spaces such as parks and retail and other employment areas. So we did take that into consideration as well. That guideline suggested for affordable housing, high-density projects that we should look at 0.5 to 0.75 parking spaces for those. It specifically references walkable neighborhoods where 5 to 10 minute walk, about 400 to 800 meter radius. There should be amenities such as grocery stores, schools, community facilities, retail plazas that include businesses for carrying food products. So for example, we looked at Rexall, which does offer food, a number of regular amenities. There's a retail plaza across the street. There's medical offices that you mentioned there as well. There's also the Kinsman Park within range. There's the South Foster Park. There's the Robin Jeffrey Park, the Bayshore Trail. There's a laundromat nearby. There's the hospital nearby, a number of medical offices, and even the Kinder Learning Center in the area. So in terms of amenities, we felt that the nearby amenities and then also the proximity of transit, which there's 4 spots that are within 500 meters of that spot, including one 40 meters down the road and one right across the street, that the area could support this parking reduction. Now, how other properties handle, overflow parking and whether they have to charge parking for that, put up signs, there are those considerations, of course, as well. What we tried to look at was this property as a whole and its merits as the application standing alone, basically. And with this in consideration, and they're also providing bicycle parking and scooter storage in the facility as well. So that's why we recommended approval for this parking reduction. Yeah. And sorry, one last thing through you, Mr. Chair. The property is very limited in size. I mean, I think we'd be looking at a different concept if there was more parking added. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you. Excuse me, through the chair. So a couple questions. So the first question is, this is a 38-unit apartment building, 38 units being rented, 12 of which are going to be affordable rental units. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
So across the entire housing spectrum, we've got shortages across the whole piece, right? So this, to me, is a great infill project. It's 38 apartments that fills a rental need, and we desperately need that as well as the affordable element of it. What my question is how do we ensure that this unit remains a rental unit property, and that 3 years from now, if it changes ownership, that we don't see it move to condominium status? So I think it's really important, if we have some mechanism at our hands at this stage, that we somehow secure that this is going to be a rental property ongoing.
Just one thing I'd like to highlight through Mr. Chair to Councillor Sanderson is this specific project was approved by Council for the Community Improvement Plan funding for affordable housing. So that does put requirements on maintaining that status as rental housing, and including the affordable units themselves being maintained as affordable housing. So what was approved was Program 3, which is the affordable rental housing tier program, and then the accessibility top-up rebate. So that's a 10-year program to basically cover the change in the tax base for it. So that adds up to about $120,000 over those 10 years. And I mean, to receive that funding, it must be maintained as rental housing.
Okay, so just to, just to add on, so it's protected for 10 years, but at the end of the 10 years, it could become a condominium?
So we, council did approve the, adopted the new official plan. We're waiting for the ministry to approve it. I don't have the exact percentage, but there were condo conversion policies within that. And the there's a percentage of, I believe, 3%. I don't have the luxury of having the document in front of me, or was able to look at that before the meeting, but basically, if the percentage of rental rates or a vacancy rate is above, again, 2 or 3%, then someone could apply for the condo rate, but it's sort of policy to sort of, if the vacancy rate is very low, that we wouldn't support a condo conversion.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 7.2, staff recommendation report for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 3014-7614, Highway 62, City of Bowel. Owner Stan and Carolyn Dafo. File number is B-77-1166. Resolution is the Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application B-77-1166 be amended to amend the City of Belleville zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended for 7614 Highway 62 City of Belleville be approved as follows. That zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended be amended to rezone a portion of the subject land from development D zone and hazard H zone to rural residential RR zone to permit a new residential dwelling. Moved by Councillor Sanderson, seconded by Mr. Jennings. Any questions or comments on this one? See none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Section 8, information matters, 8.1 official plan and zoning bylaw amendment, monitoring report, and I have a resolution that the official plan zoning bylaw amendment monitoring report to September 6, 2022 be received. Ms. Brown and Mr. Joyce, any questions on the monitoring report? No, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Anything for general business? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Maybe we can get some dialogue going tonight, or maybe you're going to shut me down and say this is not the role of the Planning Committee, and we didn't have a chance to talk, so I apologize about that off the top, but in my years now on the Planning Committee, we have people come to us and do a presentation, and then we listen and make a decision on where it's going to go. We work closely with city staff and engineers and consultants, and but over the past weekend, I've had numerous conversations with those who have moved to our area from all around the world, and the challenge for them to work, play, study in the city of Belleville. And we just touched on it right now, was this new project with 38 rental units and 12 affordable housing. Where I'm going with this, Chair, is the role of the Planning Committee. We have an election coming up next month. There will be a new Planning Committee in the new year. How closely, or do we work closely, close enough with the city developers on developing affordable housing? And I know we had the Housing Summit 3 years ago, and we've made some progress, but I'm speaking from the heart here. When you talk to people that are driving from Brampton daily to go to Loyalist College. And we have hundreds that don't have a place to stay tonight. And they've invested $16,000 to go to school as international students. And we can say, yes, it's a responsibility of them to get a home or a roof over their head, but we're selling false promises and we're not giving them the straight goods, I believe, anyway. So we need to have that conversation as a planning committee. What's our role, Chair, to engage developers, work with the community to say, I might be able to take in a student, and I know the feedback I get back is, oh, that's a college thing, or that's somebody else's responsibility. I'm telling you that this is a crisis. Anybody that was at AMO that's a counselor 2 weeks ago in Ottawa knows that we're in a housing crisis across the country, but I'm concerned about Belleville. So I will ask you, Chair, are we doing enough as a committee to work with developers now over the next 4 years, or could we focus a bit more on that?
Sure. Well, I appreciate the question. I'm going to refer to Director Ashton first and foremost, if he would like to provide some comments. We do have obviously some programs that we're trying to do in terms of affordability and try to get incentives out there to developers. And obviously there's programs at the provincial and federal level, but I'll let the director speak more to that.
So I think, I think you hit on the right note. That is a challenge everywhere, but we have to sort of focus on Belleville. I think so. We have now in our department someone who is focused as call it an affordable rental housing concierge. That's Lindsay Reed, and she's sitting there. So she has a focus on making sure that affordable rental housing is prioritized in the city. I think as we move towards sort of implementing what the city started with the housing conference for affordable rental housing 4 years ago, there's a lot of building blocks that have to be done. It can't be done overnight, but one of the, I think we PAC recommended adoption of a new official plan, which council adopted, which we're waiting for the province. It updated a lot of intensification policies. So, I mean, part of that was to sort of have the ability to increase the supply for rental housing. We always put a filter from a staff perspective. So right now, one of the big studies that we're undertaking now that the official plan is adopted is the zoning bylaw. So allowing more flexibility within the zoning, simplifying the zoning. So that is, you'll see a draft of that in the fall, which will sort of allow more adaptability for people wanting to build housing and different types of housing, not just singles or towns, but stacked towns, unique product as well as apartments. The Loyalist secondary plan update is another project that we're working on, and so we're taking the opportunity to reach out to Loyalist and fully engage Loyalist College and looking at what could support them. And so some of the things to support them is looking at designating lands adjacent to them for high density residential to support housing development in close proximity. And again, going back to the zoning bylaw, there, we have updated a lot of the zoning bylaw to be compliant with the Ontario Rights Commission sort of thing to make sure that, we're not people zoning. So that is moving forward as well. And I think, from a staff perspective, every staff member looks to their position seriously, and we look at every opportunity to promote affordable rental housing. We pitch the idea through pre-cons, et cetera, before they finalize and formulate their projects. And so that's a quick overview.
Councillor Kelly, do you? Okay. Anything else for general business? No? Okay. I've got some closing remarks. Planning Advisory Committee's applicable decisions will be forwarded to the City Council for consideration, forming part of the agenda for the City Council meeting to be held. With that, I need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Alsop, Councillor Sanderson, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you.